Hey everyone, it's Rita. Welcome back to my channel. So today we're going to be taking a look at Charlotte Tilbury's newest release, her Fire Rose palette. So it comes in this beautiful new box. I'm pretty sure it's going to be a limited edition just for this kind of like release. And it's going to be a gold, and she has the design, a ton of kind of like rays, I guess, on the box. It's kind of like a more iridescent shade, but on the actual quad, it comes with her usual maroon shade on the outer packaging, but then she has all this beautiful rose gold. It almost looks like a rays of sunshine or something. And then on the back you get Fire Rose, and then you have her little kind of like suggestion of how to use the quad. It comes with a mirror, which I think it's a pretty good size just to do your makeup. It's gonna retail for $53 just as her other quads. And right now you can find it at the Charlotte Tilbury website. That's where I got mine from. I'm pretty sure that she's going to release this at Sephora at some point. And here is what the actual quad looks like. So the way she designs her quad, it's kind of like a little system where you start with the prime, you move on with your enhance, your smoke, and then finally your pop. So I was very pleasantly surprised whenever I swatched this palette, and I'll put a clip right here where I'm just swatching it. The colors just seem to the touch so incredibly smooth. They're very velvety and they are so metallic, kind of like compared to her other quads, which I will be showing you also some comparisons on the very end of the video with some of her other quads, just so you can see how they can be very similar to like whenever you're looking at them, but once you swatch them, they are very different. So anyway, these shades, I just felt that were so smooth compared to her other shadows, and it's very interesting because I feel like with every new release, her quality just improves. And I've loved her eyeshadows for such a long time, and I've never complained about her shadows, and I feel like she just gets better and better, which absolutely blows my mind. That pop shade, that was something, out of all of them, was the one that impressed me the most. Because her pop shadow, it's usually going to be a bit more, I don't want to say dry, but a little bit more the drier side, and I always call it like, it's kind of like a more glittery for grown-ups. So you're gonna get that kind of like glitter. It's what I have on the center of my eyes. We will be doing a little tutorial with the palette, but this one was so much more softer, more pigmented than all of her other ones that I've ever tried. So it was a very nice surprise, and I honestly really like this palette. You're gonna see on the clip how fast and how easy it was to come up with this eye look, and then on the very end I'll show you some comparisons, because I do have here some other quads. I did compare it to 3 of them, so maybe you can kind of like see for yourself if you want to have this one or if it's sufficient if you have some of her other ones. So anyway, for now, let's go ahead and take a look at this eyeshadow, and then the eyeshadow look, the packaging. And then we'll be right first off, it's super pretty. So let's just get right into the eye look. So I'm gonna go ahead and use the very first shade, which is going to be this one right here, which is the prime, as she calls it. And I'm just going to apply this all over my lid. I'm gonna be using the Fenty blending brush number 230. So the swatches looked super good, but of course swatching is always different as applying it on your eyes. This is I was impressed whenever I applied this on my swatching. It looked very soft and very kind of like metallic-y. So I'm gonna use the same shade right on my inner corner. And this just went all over the lid, and I brought it up a little bit onto my crease. The second shade, I'm going to use the same brush, and I'm going to go into the shade Enhance. So I'm going to place this all over my lid, and I'm going to bring it into the crease just a tiny bit. So this shade is very dark. So I think I'm going to try to keep it on my outer V instead of going all over on my lid. So I'm just kind of like going to apply this on the outer part of my eye and then blend it into the crease. It is a bit more, kind of like a bit darker than what I was planning on going today, so I'll just keep it on my crease. And with a clean blending brush, this one is also by Fenty in the shade 210 or in the number 210, I'm going to go ahead and blend that into the crease. So as you can tell, that's also kind of like went very smooth and was super easy to blend. So now with my finger, I'm going to go back onto the first shade because I feel like it got a little more darker than I wanted. So I'll just apply this from my inner corner to the center of my lid. The shade Smoke, I'm gonna go ahead and use a Makeup by Mario brush. This one is a teeny tiny, kind of like more precise brush. And I'm gonna go ahead and use the darker, kind of like more purpley, reddish shade. I don't even know what shade it is, but it's kind of like a more purpley toned one. So with this, I'm just going to run this all over my lash line to kind of like do a little bit of a fall. I'm gonna use the same brush to just wing it out just a tiny bit. To finish up, I'm just going to use the Pop shade in the center of my eyes. And for that, I'm going to just use my finger. And this shade, whenever I swatched it, seemed so much more pigmented than usually her Pop shades are. So just look at how intense that color is right there. So that's looking very pretty. And I'm just going to pop that in the center of the eyelids. So here is the eye look with no mascara. I'm just going to go ahead and apply lots of mascara. And before I forget, I am going to use the first same brush we used, and I'm going to go in to the second shade, so the Enhance, and I'm going to run this on my lower lashes. I almost forgot about this. About my lower lashes. You saw that look was super easy. The colors were so smooth, and I'm really happy with this eyeshadow look. When I first opened the box, I thought maybe this would be a little similar to other quads that I already have. So I immediately grabbed two of the ones that I thought were closest to Fire Rose, and literally only to realize they are not. So here is Fire Rose, and then the ones that I thought would be closest was Maroon, Mesmerizing Maroon, and down here, whoops, I am so scared of dropping this. Down here we have, this one is the newest one, Walk of No Shame. So I thought these two were similar, but honestly they are not. So you're gonna see here the clip in a minute. I'm gonna show you the comparisons side by side of each of the quads, kind of like comparing the closest shades that I thought were on each one. And we are looking at Mesmerizing Maroon, and then Walk of No Shame, and then finally Pillow Talk. At first glance, I thought the closest in kind of like tone would be Walk of No Shame, but they are nothing related to each other. So the Fire Rose, the pink one, which those two shades are probably the ones that I thought were similar, they are not even comparable. So Fire Rose is going to be a more kind of like intense actual pink shade, and a bit more, kind of like a more darker, more metallic pink. While Walk of No Shame, it's kind of like a more champagne-y shade. Not even really pink, because it's definitely more of like a champagne shade. And it is just not as metallic. It is pretty intense, but not as intense as Fire Rose. So straight up there, not even comparable. We move on to the darker shades, which I also thought that could be a little bit similar, especially in these two palettes. They are very different from each other. So with Fire Rose, you get kind of like a more, almost like a light maroon shade, and this is going to be a matte shadow, like completely matte. There's no shimmer to that. There's no kind of like a satin shade to it. It's just a full-on matte. And with the Walk of No Shame, the darker, again, the Smoke shade is going to be almost like a reddish brown. It does not appear like that to be on the palette, but whenever you apply it to your eyes and whenever you swatch it, it's definitely more of a brownish red. And this one on Walk of No Shame is going to be a satin shade. So you have that bit of like a tiny bit of iridescent or a little bit of shine that you definitely do not get. The second one we're gonna look at is going to be Mesmerizing Maroon. I just wanted to include it because it is one of her newest releases, and then again, not even remotely close to each other. Mesmerizing Maroon is kind of like a more purpley shadow, which is going to be this one, and then here we have Fire Rose. Again, on the clip, we're going to be able to see how different really they are. The lighter shades, the Prime, again, Fire Rose is going to be more of like a darker metallic pink, and then on Mesmerizing Maroon, you get a more kind of like lighter champagne-y pink. Again, not close to each other in any way. Then we have the Enhance shade, which you can see on the clip. Enhance is on Fire Rose, kind of like a more brownish, bronzy shade. Very, very beautiful if you ask me. And then you move to Mesmerizing Maroon, which is not even comparable in any way. That's gonna be like a more purpley tone, again a maroon shade. And then to finish up, you have the darker shades. Both of them are gonna be matte, but the Mesmerizing Maroon palette, it's going to be a straight up dark purple, when with Fire Rose you get kind of like a more, sort of like, also kind of like an undertone of maroon, but definitely darker, more on the brownish side even. So yeah, both of them, if you were thinking about maybe not getting Fire Rose because you have Mesmerizing Maroon, I suggest you also pick it up because they have nothing in common. We have something that I just wanted to do it for fun because I feel like it's her most popular palette, and it's gonna be Pillow Talk. So the only ones that I really compared on the video are going to be the lighter shades. So you got the two prime shades. Pillow Talk is going to be a straight up very light pink, but after all, a pink, I feel like the other two palettes that we were discussing were more champagne-y. Pillow Talk is definitely a light pink, whereas Fire Rose is going to be a more darker, more intense, and definitely more metallic pink. But yes, I literally swatched all of my eyeshadow palettes, and just by looking at them, I did not find any similarities on my collection. So that being said, I think it's a beautiful palette. The quality is really unbeatable. It's going to be very shiny, very metallic-y, but even if it's more metallic-y than her other palettes, I still feel like it's done in a beautiful, more grown-up way, which I just find that Charlotte Tilbury is kind of like a more sophisticated brand for more I feel like guided for people who maybe don't like to do like way over the top eyeshadow looks, because you can't really with 4 shades in a quad and all the shades being still very wearable. There's as much you can do. So if someone doesn't love to go over the top with their eyeshadows, I feel like Charlotte Tilbury, it's a good way to look into. And her shades are always so smooth and blendable, and this one just blew them all out of the park. This is such a beautiful smooth palette. It blended so easily, and it swatched so beautiful, and it translated just as you swatch them on your arm, on your eyes. So I got all that beautiful metallic intensity and full pigment in literally one swatch, even when applying with a brush. So yeah, you guys, that's going to be my opinion. I really love it. I was very pleasantly surprised. So if you are looking maybe for a new palette for the holidays, for yourself, or to be very splurgy on a gift for someone else who likes eyeshadows, I would highly recommend you pick this up. It is beautiful. It's gonna be my thoughts on this new palette. I hope you enjoyed the video. Let me know in the comments down below if you're planning on picking it up, or if you did, how are you liking it? Maybe also if you picked up the Eyes to Mesmerize that came out with this collection, let me know how you like it, because I'm definitely eyeing the copper one. But anyway, hope you enjoyed this video. Please be sure to give it a big thumbs up if you did, and don't forget to subscribe before you leave, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye!